Okay, I gotta re-record this video. Alright, so to start off, yesterday I watched Edward Lin's funeral live stream, and I wish I could have been there because if I was in California for one more week, I could have actually made it to his actual funeral. And what really pissed me off is that Tyson Mao was there, and he was like the only cuber who told Edward Lin's real cubing story, and he didn't even tell it right. He talked about like the 2018 Salt Lake City US Nationals where me, Edward, and Kimi went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And he made it sound like I was freeloading and Edward's paying for all my things and that I was like a charity case. It was not like that at all. And Tyson's been out of touch with cubing for years, literally years. And it really bothered me because I wish I could have been there to tell Edward's story and how much, like from a fan perspective. And by the end of that national, we were friends and we talked on Messenger. And it was like, I paid for some of those things. Like, here, this is a Benihana thing with me and Mikey for his birthday, and Edward was there. And like, we were paying for our own things, and I was not a fan of Edward. Like, I wasn't there freeloading off of Edward for his money. It wasn't like that at all. And it makes it worse because I was his friend at the end of these things. That really bothered me. I wish I could have been there to tell just how bigger than life Edward was, to me at least. And it's really not about me, it's about Edward. I think he didn't have a good cubing thing, and to have that story put on there as if, it's a pain. But also in that same video I said, I like to wear the Edward Lin jacket because it has a meaning to me because I'm his huge fan, and I don't really like to wear mine because it's like whatever. And I don't think people really realize this, but cubing might be fun for everyone, but for some people it is very painful, myself inclusive. I cubed because I wanted to be fast, and I never got fast, and all of those things I made were so I could go faster. It wasn't for money, it wasn't for other dumb things. Sometimes it was for the company's sake, but ultimately my motivation was to get faster. And I didn't get the same social aspect as everyone else. I don't feel the same things everyone else feels. And cubing for me is pain. I enjoy the act of cubing, like I enjoy solving the cube, but cubing as a whole brings me great pain. All of those things together, that is why I will be selling my white jacket. Because I already have the Lin jacket, and that means a lot more to me than a constant reminder of pain. That being said, you might be wondering, but you're a software engineer for Amazon, why do you need money? And I'm gonna go into a whole tirade about money. So, it was about a few weeks ago I talked to Dana. Dana is, I guess I could call her a coworker? She did her internship at Amazon. She was on a team who did the back end, and my team did the front end for her back end. We were on different work streams, so I was on a different console, but I thought that was a really cool coincidence. I was like, oh my god, it's Dana. But I talked to her and I realized I am really behind on life. Her finances are phenomenal. She told me about all these things, gave me a starter, and I realized I need to start right now. So I maxed out my IRA the next day. I started reading into finances. I watched all the, for some of the channels she recommended, I watched all of their videos. For days I was binging financial data and all these things, and I realized I need to invest right now. I'm 28 and Dana's 21, and she is so far ahead of me. I have no excuse. I am really behind, and I need to get this. And I realized, like, guys, money doesn't bring you happiness. Growing up, I always said, oh, once you make 6 figures, that $100,000, you're gonna be happy. You really aren't, because money doesn't erase all the bad decisions you've made in life, all of those painful reminders, all those people who've left you and things you'll never attain that you can't buy. Money just exacerbates that. And you won't feel this at 100,000 a year. You won't even feel this at 200,000 a year. You might feel this at 300,000, I don't know, but below 200,000, you're not going to feel anything. And when you really calculate out the cost of living, $1 million is nothing. If you retire on $1 million, that's enough for 20 years. That you may live longer than 20 years, and who knows if Social Security is going to be around. That's why it's so important to save money early on. I think one of the quotes is, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world." This is just going to be money talk from here on out. There's no cubing stuff. After the jacket thing, there's nothing cubing related. I'm just going to be telling you money advice. So, taking that into account, you need to start saving money as soon as possible. And I know I've heard this all my life, but it wasn't until I had that talk with Dana that I really realized I am so behind, guys. I am in a lot of trouble. And I'm selling the jacket to pay for stocks. So here you might be thinking, oh, he's going to do day trading. But I watched all these videos and I came to some really solid conclusions. A lot of the experienced day traders say, don't be emotional, trade with your data. And I watched them time and time again break their rules because they got emotional. They tried to explain their losses and wins backwards, trying to create a narrative of all these things that happened, but that's not what happened. They got emotional, they bought, they held, they didn't drop at the right time. The human mind is fallible. When you see hundreds of stocks and thousands of numbers, all these tickers, there's no way that a human can pull all that information and draw the right conclusions. And I know that human minds are good at NP-hard problems such as recognition, but when it comes down to that, when there's an emotional aspect installed, greed and all those things, you can't trust it. Humans will inherently have emotions, and that's why I think it's stupid for me to do day trading. It is pointless. But if we consider a few things, if we look at Citadel and 2 Sigma, they use computers. And 2 Sigma was started out by 3 guys. And what's the difference between these 3 guys and anyone else? And I think that the answer is the contents of the brain. And anyone can fill things in their brain. Anyone can pull an API and write some scripts to get data, get statistics, create a machine learning model. All it takes is motivation. And right now, that's what I've been doing for the past few days. I've been coding up some basic stuff, working with some APIs, and I won't have live data. You have to pay for live data, and these big companies, they pay millions of dollars for low latency connections. You really don't need that to get started though. Anyone can get started, and you need to get started in investing right now, or else if you start investing by the time you're 40, the amount of money you need to retire is insane. Absolutely insane. Like, all these things have really low percentages, but if we consider the graph of things in investments, the slope is exponential. Compound interest is exponential. There's a rule of 72. If you had like 1%, like every few months, let's say you had 1% every month, in 72 months your amount of money would double, and then after that it would double again and again and again. And that's the magic of compound interest and why you should save now for retirement. I am 28 and I'm scared witless. I am absolutely frightened to death. And that's why I maxed out my IRA and I'm saving as much money as possible. I moved back in with my mom to save money and rent because I learned all these things about finances. And it's COVID time anyways, like, nothing's open, I don't really have many friends on the West Coast. What am I gonna do? I need to save money for my future and establish a stock portfolio. And I know that sounds boring, but that's the realism of it, guys. You need to have savings. But going back to this topic, 2 Sigma was just 3 guys. They also had PhDs in math and computer science from some of the greatest universities in the world. All it took was some intelligent modeling that they typed out, and anyone can type out code. Anyone. I feel this completely 100%. They went from that to having a $60 billion fund. That is a huge amount of money. And all it takes is intelligence. Anyone can type out anything, anyone can learn anything. It's all about your drive, your personal ambition, and how much time you're willing to invest. And I'm telling you guys right now, you need to start doing this right now. Because the average person isn't going to make enough to retire on. And if they're retiring, it's going to be a sad existence. You need to hedge yourself against these things. And I am completely scared of that. So I've been getting into using some basic machine learning things, coding some things. The statistics, there are a few statistics that are like dead giveaways. In finance, there's the golden cross and the death cross. Those things are concrete statistics that computers can play with and see before the humans can, and they can scroll across hundreds, if not thousands or millions of stocks before we can read even 10 and understand them. Algorithmic trading is the future. If you're going to get into stocks and you're going to do day trading, it's going to be tough because you need to be on top of the news. People have their own news sites. There are data channels and streams for people who are serious about investing. They can pull up the history of things instantly. They have multiple layouts. These are the people you're competing against, and if you're going to do this, you have to do it right. And that's why I'm taking my time to really learn everything and test my models and do everything right. And that's the thing. Most people who day trade lose money. And that's because they didn't have the preparation, they didn't plan, and you really need to research everything before you do it. So that's what I've been doing. I've been working, practicing some cubes, and coding up something that'll help me trade. That's it, guys. So I still cube. I still enjoy the act of cubing. And I'm excited to go to competitions. So that's it for this video. It's a pretty downer video, but yeah. Hope to see you guys at competitions, and see you in the next video.